Okay, Haas employees, I just wanted to thank you for all the hard work you put in over the summer break. And I know the guys are very appreciative of all your sacrifices, and they're very keen to repay you as well. K-Mag with podiums, and Sargeant by just trying not to damage the car. Hi guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome back to Kicking Haas. We are after the summer break now. We are at the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps, and well, we have worked very, very hard through the summer break to try and make this car as good as it possibly can for the remainder of the season. Now, you will notice Logan Sargeant is still in the car. If you have missed why that is, it's because we did a poll whether we want K-Mag or Crawford in the car with next season. Crawford won that vote. The assumption there on my behalf is that we want two American drivers there. Which means Sargeant is the obvious man to stay in the car. Now, K-Mag is currently second in the standings. Now, after you've last race, which if you haven't seen, I do recommend going back and watching it. It was a cracking race, and if you haven't seen it yet, hopefully you've already gone back, because K-Mag won it, and Verstappen was a lap down outside the points, so it's just opened that door a crack for us to try and get back in there. Sargeant had a better race as well, from the back of the grid, of course. He is now on 25 points, still needs to score a lot more, but hopefully he's going to start and turn a corner for us. Now, as I said, we have worked very hard on the cars through the summer break, and we bring no fewer than 3 upgrades to the car for this race. So let's go down and have a look here. I believe we have a front wing. If we go to change, we can see it here, show rank on grid, so we can see where we're moving up. So it's going to help the high speed and more importantly, perhaps the dirty air cornering. So if we're following somebody, it will help us sort of stay there and not eat our tires, is what I assume is what that means. The rear wing, we do bring a new rear wing to the car as well. Now this is important for Spa, obviously long straights. You can see top speed is going to be improved, as is high speed cornering is going to be greatly improved, and there are some high speed corners around Spa as well. And finally, but perhaps not least, is side pods. We bring new side pods to the car. If we go and side pods please and change, and we can see here again rank on grid. It just helps with engine cooling, which I think is something that it's still one of the worst on the grid. So it's a very minor upgrade in that sense. It was something we did without any research time being used up, but it all helps, doesn't it? And hopefully, as I said, it's going to just help push us up that grid that little bit more. So the car should be better. What we don't know, of course, is what everybody else has done during the summer break. Now, drivers, we do have a development point for Logan Sargeant. We will stick that in to, I'm going to try and get, if you missed it, I'm going to try and get all these up to 80, and then we're going to start making him a more well-rounded driver. So we'll stick it on the cornering, since that is where he is sort of least of those first stats. K-Mag is nothing to report, and we do have 2 development points for Crawford, so we will stick those onto cornering and braking for now, I think, and he becomes a 67 rated driver. So very nicely done there for Mr. Crawford. And if we go and have a look at staff, I forgot to pre-check this, but yeah, we do have some development points here as well. So we'll stick that onto chassis. We want it, I think, our head of technical chief to be as well-rounded as possible, and he is the only one that has development points. A few minor things happening at the factory, more just refurbishments for parts that are fading than anything else. Let's have a look here and see what we're doing at Spa. We are expecting a dry race, it looks like, which is excellent. And overview of the track we will see here. So for qualifying purposes, red is sector 1, blue sector 2, yellow sector 3. We can see there fast sections, lots and lots of green corners. Hopefully anyway, our new rear wing will help with that, and the purple sections, which are the straights, of course. Car attributes, there it is, top speed, acceleration, high speed corners. That is what we've worked on for this track, so hopefully we're going to be more competitive. Average pit lane stop time is 20 seconds. It knocks a little bit off under a safety car, but not too much, to be honest. Expected strategies is a 1-stop. I think it's always pretty much been a 1-stop, hasn't it? Now, the difference in tyres is about half a second a lap, but what I think caught us out once before is the drop-off. The drop-off of the soft is quite significant, so we will have to bear that in mind, though it is, in lap sense, a shorter race than we do typically see. Now, Magnussen second last year, and I think we can suspect that there it is there, Sargeant down there in 13th. We would take that result, I think, if we could just get Sargeant sort of up somewhere in the top 5 or 6, and historically, Red Bull and Ferrari in our world have been the winners of this race, which is pretty much standard with every other track that we've gone to, I would imagine. So reach Q3, we want someone in the top 8, therefore we want to reach Q2. That is all absolutely fine. Fastest lap, we've been getting that recently, actually, to be honest. And finishing streaks, we need a car in the top 10, and we need a car in the top 10 for qualifying for 3 races in a row. Given the upgrades that we've bought, I would be very disappointed if that wasn't the case here. But anyway, there we go. Logan Sargeant holds the lap record here. Let's hope we can see more of that from him. Let's head off to Spa, though. Oh, it is going to be a heavy rain race. It's going to be wet again. Well, it worked out for us okay in Hungary. I thought it said it was going to be sunny. Obviously, I didn't read the weather forecast very well. All right, I'm going to do free practice, and I'll see you for qualifying. Alright, so free practice has been done. Let's have a look and see how we did. Now, FP1, we had obviously Crawford and Sargeant in the cars. You see only a hard tyre run for Sargeant. Crawford had K-Mag's car, but his parts, Logan Sargeant has sort of newer, older parts, if that makes sense, whereas Crawford still has the originals, mainly because I just don't trust him in K-Mag's car to put the newer parts in. If we go and have a look here in FP2, Sargeant still quicker than K-Mag again. A lot of that, I think, is just down to the age of engines and gearboxes and whatnot. And then Sargeant P9 in FP3, again K-Mag down there in 16th. We'll add, he'll get his new engine parts and that's ready for qualifying now. If we have a look here, setup should be at 97 for K-Mag. So yeah, we weren't able to completely nail the setup, but it wasn't too bad. So I'll go do Q1, should be no problem, and I'll just confirm that for you momentarily. So yeah, absolutely no problem at all. One run, 4th and 6th. So the upgrades definitely appear to have moved us up the grid. Norris getting knocked out is a bit of a shocker, but outside of that, I don't think there's too many surprises there. So on to Q2. Okay, so second run in Q2, both cars appeared to get blocked quite badly on their first laps. Yes, it was on used tyres, which is something I always do, just because we go straight out, and sometimes you do find yourself cars on their out laps sort of getting in your way. Which is what happened here. So we should be able to improve with both cars just anyway, because there's nobody in our way, and also the fresh tyres as well. We did see it was a 1/10 of a second a drop-off, given that the tyres had done well, at least 2 push laps, some in and out laps. You'd probably expect 3/10 of a second on the tyres as well. So I'm hopeful we're going to get both cars into Q3 here. Sargeant has done, well, they've both done a green first sector. Second sector comes up there, so we've got green and green for K-Mag as well. And what sort of lap times have we got elsewhere up here? There is a lot of green up there, which is a little bit concerning. But let's see. Sargeant is currently 15th. What can he do? Logan Sargeant crosses the line and goes 5th. Logan Sargeant and K-Mag 3rd. So excellent work there for the boys. And yeah, this is very good. And if I tell you what, if Sargeant can get himself ahead of Verstappen, that would be something else, wouldn't it? Okay, so first run on... Oh, K-Mag! He's on provisional pole and he's binned it. He's binned it on his in-lap, his out-lap. Well, that is disappointing. To be fair to see, Sargeant did the same thing in free practice 1, I think it was. But K-Mag is essentially done with the damaged front wing, so it's all going to come down to Logan Sargeant and seeing what he can do. You can just come in, K-Mag, because, yeah, damaged front wing, you're certainly not going to be doing your better lap. Which he's on provisional pole. It's so disappointing, but let's hope he gets out of his system there rather than yeah, you're coming in, K-Mag. Just don't annoy me. You're annoying me already. Just stop it. Alright, so let's see what Sargeant can do. There's not much green there. Now, we've seen this before, that sometimes the second run in Q3 is... Oh, Sainz has done a purple sector. Perez has done a purple sector. Sargeant only did a yellow first sector as well, not even a personal best. Let's see what he can do as times are going to start coming in now. He has done a green second sector. Sainz goes top. Perez goes top. K-Mag down to 4th. Sargeant down to 7th. Can Sargeant improve? Will K-Mag stay where he is? It looks like he is. No worse than 4th, unless Sargeant can beat him, which he cannot. Oh, anticlimactic. So, in the end, Sargeant cannot get ahead of Verstappen. In fact, not even K-Mag can get ahead of Verstappen. It was a rapid lap from Sainz, wasn't it? I'm not even sure that if K-Mag had done his second lap, he had, what's that, 8/10 of a second in him. That is a big improvement, isn't it? But anyway, there we go. That is going to be the grid, lesser Ricciardo penalty. So let's see what we can do strategy-wise for a wet race. All right, so how wet are we talking here? So we're not, it's rain, it's look at that, it's going to be back and forth. So I think what do you do? What do you do? I mean, the thing is, we don't know exactly what is exactly going to be an intermediate tyre and even a dry tyre at certain points here, but it's definitely going to be a wet tyre at the end. So okay, so let's have a look at what we can do here then. A medium tyre doesn't look like it's going to get us to the rain, does it? Let's push it out as far as we can. Yeah, as far as we can, please. And it might get us to the rain, but then at that point, with tyre wear, you're better off starting on a hard. Just making sure you get... no, it should be okay, shouldn't it? Because if we're talking lap 20, that should be fine. And then, well, then it's just pick your own tyre, really, isn't it? Probably a wet tyre, an inter at some point, and then maybe back to a wet at the end. It's going to be sort of choose your own adventure to a point, isn't it? So, yeah, it's going to be... I think we're going to be stopping 3, possibly even 4 times. But we should, I think, with both cars start on a medium, and then we just kind of... You kind of hope from there, don't you, that you just are on the right tyre at the right time, and what do you do? What do you do? I mean, that's probably wet. It may be dipping into a medium. That looks like it's different to even what we predicted with Sargeant. That looks like it's going to be pushing into, possibly even into dries, doesn't it? So, anyway, let's enjoy this. It could be a chaotic race. All right, welcome back, welcome back. There we go, K-Mag sitting in the second row there. Is that the back of a Haas? A little bit further back for Sargeant. Off we go. Let's jump on board. We're on board with Sargeant in 7th. And there's some soft tyres there. Now, again, we know a soft tyre is not necessarily going to get you to the rain. I don't understand why the AI is doing this. But anyway, we do have both cars on deploy. So we're going to try and make up as much ground early on as we can. I'm a little bit more cautious about petrol here because I don't know how much... Oh, Sector 2, it's not us, so that's fine. Well, we'll see who it was in a second here. It's Stroll, unsurprisingly, perhaps. Yeah, so we will see. Now, of course, it is, lap-wise, as I said at the top, it's a short race in 44 laps, but it is obviously a very long lap. So... it just makes it a little bit more difficult to sort of judge things because it looks like things that, like tyre life, for example, are degrading quite quickly. But 1 lap around here is 2, possibly, you know, some tracks even 3 laps in, you know, in distance. So, yeah, you've got to obviously bear that in mind. But it looks as though we've got Russell holding us up here a little bit. If we jump on board with K-Mag, he has Verstappen in front of him. And, yeah, just... Perez has been the faster Red Bull. So I don't know if Verstappen's nursing some older engine parts or whatnot, but certainly while he's on a soft tyre... Now, who else is on a soft tyre here? It's roughly more than half the field like they're on a soft tyre. So again, unless I have grossly underestimated... and look at the difference in tyre wear. Some of these guys... Because we always make sure we save at least 1 set of soft tyres through qualifying, which the AI doesn't tend to do. We actually have 2 sets of soft tyres here because I wasn't sure when the rain was coming, and obviously you'd rather have a soft tyre for short bursts in the middle and end of the race than a medium. But as it turns out, I doubt we're going to need it unless we do get... Oh, Sargeant's locked up again! He's gone in the back, hasn't he? He's gone into the back of the Ferrari, who's on fire, which isn't great. Is he out? What's happening with Sargeant here? He's going to the very, very back. Is it a safety car, maybe? Leclerc is out. What has... well, hang on a second. Hang on, he's probably dropping oil everywhere. No wonder he's locked up one in the back of him. He's going to take a penalty for that, isn't he? And rightly so. So, Sargeant has not repaid them for their hard work. Although, has he damaged the car? He has damaged the car. It is a safety car. Alright, well, this is actually... Ignore it with K-Mag. Okay, hang on.
No DRS.
We'll ignore it with K-Mag because we don't need to worry about it. But this is a perfect opportunity for Sargeant to serve his penalty. So that is absolutely fine. We will call him in. We will stick on a new front wing. He's got minor chassis damage, but we should be able to deal with that. What are we doing here? Pit stop. In we come. And it is just going to be a front wing, which is absolutely fine. So pit this lap. And yeah, well, I don't know how long the penalty is, but whatever it is, he just about deserves it because he just punted Leclerc out of the race.
Okay, there's a big crash.
Okay, safety car is in this lap. Now, Sargeant has refit his wing, and he's caught up, saved his penalty, and caught up to the back of the field. So it's as good as it could possibly have been for him. obviously without running out the back of somebody. We will now deploy both cars and see how we go here. Oh, is it not the greatest exit there for Verstappen? And it's, oh, is there a referee? Who's in the race control? Race control. He tried to block him into the wall. Can K-Mag get a good run down the inside? Here we are pushing on petrol now because we saved a lot under that safety car, so we can do that for a little bit now without any concerns of running out of petrol. Sargeant is still down there in 19th. You know, he came from the back for points last time. Let's see what he can do this time. And I do think the safety car might even have helped us here. We need to get some moves done, but let's not focus on Sargeant just now. Because the soft tyre runners, in theory, would have an advantage on the soft tyre, but the safety car has backed everybody up, so they run on the soft tyre. They've lost 5 laps, basically. So that will have helped us. Yeah, it's just a shame that Sargeant has still not learned how to overtake somebody. Here we go again. We've got a good run on Verstappen. This time the yellow flag in Sector 3, which is hopefully not us, but Magnussen blasts past Verstappen like he's not even there and moves himself up onto the podium ahead of his championship rival. Now, of course, Leclerc was the other driver in that championship battle. He was a couple of points behind Magnussen. So Sargeant, in a way, has done himself or the team a favour there by getting rid of a Ferrari. Not the way you'd want to do it, of course, but yeah, well, let's see if K-Mag can close down Sainz and Perez, who have looked the fastest 2 cars, I've got to say, through free practice and qualifying as well. If he can close them down on a medium tyre, then we'll be right in this race for the win. But, of course, we're waiting for rain, aren't we? Oh, Sargeant is locked up again. Logan, what is wrong? He's out. Sargeant's out. What's happened here? He's out of the race.
Let's have a look.
Has he been strolled, or is no? Stroll's been Sargeanted. Did he get maybe a little bit onto the outside there? Either way, he should be black flagged at this point. Twice in 6 laps doing that. So, unsurprisingly, we are under safety car again, and Sargeant will have a penalty for the next race. All right, safety car is ending. We are going to push a little bit more with K-Mag. Now, the one thing I'm not sure with the game mechanics and how it's sort of programmed is, obviously under safety car the race is slowing down, but is the rain going to therefore be that much later as well, or is it a case of it's sort of programmed to arrive at a certain lap rather than a certain time as Verstappen runs wide? Unfortunately for us, doesn't look like he's lost any position. But yeah, definitely going to be an off race for Verstappen. He's 2.5 seconds back of the leader now. We've got about 2 seconds on him, a little bit over. But yeah, with pushing on here quite a bit with K-Mag, then this is looking as though it could work out okay for us. The issue, of course, in the Constructors' race is we are a car down now, and I hope we're all feeling good about putting Crawford in the car next year ahead of K-Mag. Crawford and Sargeant could be a very interesting season, couldn't it? I can't even make an excuse for him. The track was dry. K-Mag's done the fastest lap. And actually, it's a good time to get the fastest lap, because if it is going to be a wet race, this is it. This is when you're going to be setting the fastest laps. Now, he's got a very good run here on both of them. I'd rather have a finish than a fastest lap, of course, but yeah, well, let's see. What have we done? A purple sector? No, green sector, though. Given he's done the fastest lap, should that not be a purple sector as well? Anyway, he's probably going to be stuck in a battle here and therefore getting slowed down. But the fact he's getting slowed down by second and first in the race is, well, not a bad thing to be happening to us at all, is it? Look at the gap to Verstappen, almost 5 seconds. So yeah, again, waiting for the rain, but K-Mag is looking on for a podium here. Touch wood. Shouldn't have said that. Multiple cars have crashed again, and do we have another safety car? This is unbelievable as Magnussen sets the fastest lap. There are cars coming into the pits. I want to see the crash, if I'm honest. It looks like it's coming into the chicane there. Here we go. Let's have a look and see exactly what has happened. And is it Alpine, Alfa Romeo? Looks like it's going to be... is that Sonoda? He forgot to brake. Completely forgot to brake. So, I mean, look at that. It was Vettel as well. So it's a race of attrition. Such a shame that we didn't have Sargeant still in it, because he definitely would have been on for points here if he could have stayed on the track. All right, let's try this again for the third time. We restart after the safety car, and a lot of the soft tyre runners use the opportunity there to pit under the safety car. So that's why we see the likes of Mick Schumacher in 7th, Hamilton in 4th, Ricciardo and Zoe up there as well. So it's definitely jumbled the order a little bit. But yeah, obviously there was no point us stopping because our tyres are going to get to the rain. To be honest, I don't understand why they put on a hard tyre, as they say. I don't understand why you wouldn't have, if you had another set of soft tyres or something, to put that on. The rain is not that far away at this point. And yeah, looks like we're pulling out a nice gap again on Hamilton. So it is, well, I'll see you in a couple of laps for the 4th safety car issue. So Max Verstappen, wow, was he in the wall? He's gone wide, that's for sure. So he's having a nightmare couple of races, his old Max. Alright, we are now waiting for the rain to come. Any minute now, we're expecting it. If it starts raining, the problem is that I don't know if it's going to be a what's it called, an intermediate or a wet tyre to go onto. If it could start raining now, at least I get an idea of how heavy the rain is going to be. Now, it was supposed to be a heavy rain race, so that suggests a wet tyre. Here comes the rain now, so we're going to be stopping this lap. We'll give it a little bit of time and see how quickly it's coming down. Maybe don't want to push quite so much on the tyres, given that it is raining. It looks quite wet here, doesn't it? Look at that.
Yeah, take it easy.
It's going to be damp. See, this is the problem that we have. I will just pause it here so I don't miss anything. This is the level of wetness we're expecting for a couple of laps, and then it is going to definitely dump it down. Do we want to spend 2 laps on a wet tyre? Now, we're unlikely. It was, what, 20 seconds for a pit stop? We are unlikely to be 5 seconds a lap slower. I wouldn't have thought. So let's come in. Let's throw on a wet. I got this right last time. So I'm due to get one wrong. But with Max Verstappen down there in 14th and Leclerc out of the race, thank you, Logan, this is a huge opportunity for K-Mag, and I really, really don't want to get it. Imagine if we release the world champion to get Jack Crawford in the car. All right, here we go. In we come. Now, for some reason, Perez has stayed out, which makes 0 sense. It's going to come down to Haas and Ferrari in the pit stops. Now, we know that Ferrari's going to win that, almost certainly. We do throw on the wet. We wait for the Ferrari. There he goes. And did we see what sort of tyre Sainz put on? He put on a wet as well. Okay. So, Hamilton put on a wet. We'll wait and see what these other cars put on. I don't understand why you wouldn't have come in that lap. We need to get this move done. We need to just deploy. It is definitely wet here, isn't it? We cannot afford to get stuck behind Daniel Rick. Come on, mate. Come on, K-Mag. We can push the tyres because they're going to get to the end without a problem. We've got to get this move done. We cannot get stuck behind a dry-tired car for so long. And it's happening, isn't it? It's happening. Where's Perez? Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. We've got Sainz. Have we? No, we haven't, because we're stuck behind Ricciardo again. Denny Rick, get out of the way, man. Come on. Oh, there goes Sainz up the road. We should get it late on the brakes. Not too late, though, please, K-Mag. Ricciardo comes in. Where's Perez and all this? He should be. Yeah, he's well and truly overtaken. And, well, the battery's empty. We can go back to neutral. And now, well, we play the rain game. It is about to go to wet, so I did make the right decision in the end, so that's fantastic. And everybody else is on wet tyres as well. Let's see how this race plays out now. We are right behind the leader. Can K-Mag go back-to-back in wet races? That would be something. Sainz is quick, though. Alright, now Kevin Magnussen is getting very close to the back of Sainz. He did drop back a little bit. We were harvesting a little bit of energy. You wouldn't know it by looking at this. So I just wanted to have enough so we could get one kind of blast at him down a straight. Obviously, there's no DRS in the wet conditions. So, yeah, that we can't rely on that. We're going to need to get it done sort of without that aid. You can see the tyre life is absolutely fine. We could look to push on a little bit more. Ultimately, though, Verstappen's up to 7th, so he is coming back through the field. I don't want to risk too much here because 2nd would still be a very good result for us. with Verstappen struggling and Leclerc obviously out of the race. So, yeah, I just want to not be too silly with it. Chasing a win, though, obviously we do want to have the win if we can. But it is still relatively early in the race as well. We can save tyres for later on, although again they should be fine to get there, even if we do push on a lot harder than we are right now. Even pushing at this, they'll get there. So yeah, I don't think we're going to stop again. If we have a look, the weather forecast seems to have changed now. If this was just sort of intermediate, you can see we might get there for a lap, but otherwise it's going to be a wet race to the end. So there won't be any more pit stops. It's going to be, looks like Magnussen versus Sainz for the win. And I think we all back K-Mag this point, don't we? He's an absolute star. Alright, now we have now entered this period where we are definitely in intermediate conditions. And if you look at the lap times here, Sainz is a couple of tenths a lap faster than K-Mag, but we are expecting rain again any minute now, so I don't think it's worthwhile coming in for the Inter, especially at this point. If we were going to do it, it would have needed to have been sort of a couple of laps ago. So yeah, the Ferrari in the sort of where we're just about on the wrong tyre definitely looks to be the faster car. But the rain is expected any second now. Tyres are severely overheating. I think you've just got to kind of stick with it here, K-Mag, because it's not worth coming in for a stop when we're 100% expecting heavy rain in 4 minutes, which is what, about 2 laps time. But I don't think to have a 40-second pit stop loss to go inters and then back to wets. I don't know. We wouldn't be 10 seconds a lap faster. I wouldn't have thought. But no one's on Inter, so I guess we'll never know. But Sainz is definitely driving away from K-Mag at this point, and we are running out of laps here as well. All right, let's go and push on a little bit here. We try and close this gap up if we at all can. Come on, K-Mag. All right, the rain is coming back down. We're about to go back to a wet track, but Sainz, even though we've been pushing on massively, has extended the gap out to over 3 seconds now. I'm wondering if we just kind of call off the chase a little bit. And let's have a look and see what happens with lap times. But with 5 laps to go, we need to almost be a second a lap faster. We have used up a little bit of our tyres trying to keep up with him, never mind close the gap. And I'm a little bit concerned this might be a bit of a bridge too far for K-Mag. So second is still, as I say, it's still a very good result for us, but we can't even see Sainz at times now. So yeah, let's see what exactly this lap looks like. We'll just have to back off the petrol a little bit. Yeah. It looks like he's getting further away though, doesn't it? 4 seconds. I think we set off a second. We've got a nice little gap over Perez. Hamilton's looking though he's going to get 4th. And Ricciardo is currently doing a wonderful job holding up Verstappen for us. And Russell as well. So it might be a case of settling for second here. Alright, we are just about to start the final lap of the race. Sainz has just driven off into the distance. You can see that last lap 2 seconds faster. Perez has become a little bit of a problem behind us. He's only 3 seconds back. So he has been catching us, but not really by enough to be overly concerned. Certainly not concerned enough to come back before the last lap. Yeah, I think longer term this race, if it had been sort of a 50-lap race, he probably would catch and pass us. But we don't have to worry about lap 50 because it ends at lap 44, of course. It is very wet, though, again. I think perhaps if we look at other teams' tyre life, we are definitely the worst. We've eaten into them as trying to keep up with Sainz as much as anything. But you can see now he's 11 seconds up the road. He has 100% deserved to win this race. He's been the best driver on the track. And we still have Verstappen in 7th. So as long as that stays, this is looking as though it's going to be a very decent afternoon's work for Kevin Magnussen. He comes into the final chicane for the final time. And Kevin Magnussen will be 2nd at the Belgian Grand Prix. Excellent work, K-Mag. Excellent work. And it looks like Hamilton's going to be 4th in a Williams.
Good job.
The Dane had a very impressive race, really delivering when the pressure was on. Today's competitors gave it their all.
So there we go, up 2 to finish in second. Ricciardo had a day out, didn't he, in Hamilton, moving up a long, long way. And of course, we've got Logan Sargeant down there. I don't know what his penalty is going to be. It'll be a grid penalty, I assume, in the next one. But yeah, obviously disappointing for him. But look at the drivers' standings, and we take what's that? 12 points out of Verstappen's lead. That is now down to what's that? 6 to 26 points. So if K-Mag wins the race with the fastest lap, Verstappen doesn't score, then we will be joint at the top of the standings, and that is something I didn't think we were going to be saying a couple of races ago. And of course, the constructors, not a great race for us in terms of overall points, with no Sargeant finishing, but we pull out the gap a further 10 points on Mercedes. We've lost out to them this time last year, but this season, I think we might just about go and get third, which is excellent. But if you have enjoyed that, make sure you hit thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And next race, I want to say it might be Zandvoort, so Max Verstappen land. Hopefully we can spoil the party for him there. But if not, we'll take a second place, and let's see what Sargeant can do in terms of not crashing. Take care.